Hello, Mariana. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you, Rama?
Good. Bom dia. Como vai? That's all I know.
Hey, wow, you did your good research.
Yeah. Congratulations on your new show, Trafficked, Underworlds with Mariana van Zeller, premiering January 17 on National Geographic. Okay, I'm going to go straight to the million-dollar question here. You've met with some of the most dangerous people on earth, some shady people. So which one of them was the one that made you feel like, oh my God, I might die today. This person might kill me. And where did you muster the courage to overcome that fear when you're scared for your life like that?
Yeah, I spend a lot of time surrounded by guys, armed guys, guys that traffickers, smugglers, assassins. I think unsurprisingly, this season, actually, one of the scariest people we met was with an assassin. I've been wanting to do a story about assassins for a long time. And these are people who are, paid to kill and paid to keep silent. So it wasn't an easy get, but after many months of trying to figure out how to get some assassins to talk to us, one of the first ones we actually interviewed was right here, about 15 minutes from my house in Los Angeles. And he was very nervous at the beginning. And we'd been warned that he wasn't an easy person to handle, that he could change his mind and lose his temper pretty fast. And as soon as we got there, he showed me his gun and he said, look, if this is a setup, you guys are all going to be killed. And we
Wow.
told him again, as you know, the only reason he agreed to meet with us is because we have a person we know in common, and that person had convinced him to come and meet with us, talk about what he does. And yeah, I mean, it was a fast interview because he was again very sort of nervous and flighty, and but it was one of those that myself and my team, we were all super nervous throughout.
I admire you. Hell, Joe Rogan admires you. He thinks you're one of the most badass people on earth, which is true. A lot of people would go for the safe 9 to 5 desk job, steady income, but you seem to find your passion out there on the field. Where's this passion coming from? And was there a point where you think maybe I should do something different? Or maybe your line of thinking is if I don't do this, then nobody will?
I have my dream job. I'm not doing it. It's not a sacrifice. I do exactly what I love doing. I've always been sort of attracted to the underworlds, to the places and the deepest, darkest corners of the world that people don't usually get to see. I've always wanted to be a journalist since I was about 12 years old. And I think most people don't know, but the idea that these black and gray markets actually occupy almost half of the world's economy, and we know so little about them. And I think that the more time I spend in these black markets, in these underworlds, I realize that there's a real parallel there actually between the legal economy and the black market or the illegal economy. And also that a lot of these operators, the people in these, these assassins and these traffickers and smugglers, whether we like it or not, they're a lot more like us than we'd like to admit. And I think that trying to explore what takes people to live in a life of crime, for me, has always been fascinating and can tell us a lot about the world we live in and the dangers that surround us.
Now, you've built your connections over the years that help you gain access to these black markets and these underworlds. But what I want to understand is why are these shady people so open to opening up to you? Is it because you're basically exposing their world, but
Mhm.
they're open to you. Is it because you can speak their language, or is it because of the racial component, or have you ever experienced maybe a situation in which they don't want to talk to you because you're a woman? Talk to me about that.
Absolutely. I think one of the problems with Trafficked is that it makes it look easy to try to talk to these people, because a lot of, our viewers don't get to see the work that is put into just even getting anyone to meet with us, let alone be on camera. So this is months, sometimes even years of really hard work of myself and my incredible team of trying to get people to talk to us. And I always say that for every yes we get about 100 no's. So it's not easy. And once we actually get somebody who agrees to talk to us, I think it's about, there are many reasons why. I think it's, a sense of impunity that a lot of people in these black markets operate in, thinking that they've been doing this work for so long, the government has never bothered them, the authorities have never bothered them, particularly in more corrupt countries like Mexico. So what do I have to lose from talking to somebody from National Geographic? I think it's also there's a sense of people wanting to boast, these are people sometimes the best at the best of what they do, and their families don't even know what they're doing. So we allow them the opportunity behind a camera, behind a mask, with a voice disguise, to be able to sort of boast about what they do. And then I do think it's a little bit of my approach in terms of the empathy. You know, I always tell them I'm here. I lead with empathy always. I'm here with curiosity. I'm here to really try to understand why you do what you do, and no judgment. And I think that goes a long way, because at the end of the day, everybody wants to be understood.
Now, I get the idea of journalists protecting their sources or your sources, but why? Because I've seen all the episodes. Why protect the names of the billionaires in that secret illegal gambling Beverly Hills episode? Well, is it because you don't want to create scandal or receive blowback from what they might do? Can you reveal their names to us right now?
Exclusive, just for you, Rama. As long as you promise not to tell anyone. You know, it was an agreement I made with the person that took me there, and he basically told me, yes, I'll take you in, but you won't be able to reveal the names. And the kind of journalism, you know, what we're trying to do with this show, with Trafficked, is more a peek into these underworlds. Again, a look into these places, the darkest corners of our world that people rarely get an opportunity to see. And it's not about getting individuals in trouble, or, you know, that's quite frankly the job of law enforcement. My job as a journalist is to shed a light into these underworlds, and that's what what I do. And yeah, I mean, it was fascinating, and I hope and I think that we were able to sort of capture what was happening inside. But again, this also happened in a neighborhood that you wouldn't expect. I think most people think black markets, they must happen in sort of, you know, very far away places and very hidden locations, but so often, more often than not, they're very much sort of happening next door in your own backyard, and you have no idea.
A lot of these problems actually have the solutions right in front of us. Sure, some of them are motivated by greed, like the funeral directors and the drug kingpins, but others stems from economic conditions and corruptions. I mean, if people have living wage jobs and can raise their family safely, they would not have to resort to smuggling. They would not have to emigrate to another country. And if we here in America have universal health care, we wouldn't have to pay ransom to drug pharma companies and private insurance companies. If we decriminalize drugs or weed, regular, and tax them. So the solutions are right there all along in front of us. But it seems that the systems are designed so that the DEA and the law enforcement boys can have something to do, or it's designed for us so that the private prisons can profit. Well, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head. I think that black markets exist because the legal markets keep messing up, essentially. You know, it is because why are millions of Americans, 20 million Americans, procuring their medication in the black market? Because they can't afford the medication here in the United States. You know, why are immigrants by the thousands crossing the borders every single day into the United States? Because the American dream is not available to them in a legal way. 100%. I mean, these black markets, again, exist because for many people, this is where they can find their opportunities. And that is, I hope, one of the biggest messages from anyone who watches Trafficked, is that if we want to find solutions, we have to look at what causes these problems and what's at the root cause of these problems. And in the majority of cases, it's this, the lack of equity that exists, and the lack of opportunities that exists for many, for more than half of the world's population.
You know, Mariana, my final bird's eye view question. I'm not a big fan of the annual White House correspondent dinner because I believe that journalists or press should not be cozying up to the powerful, but that seems to be the case now. It's all about gaining access to these politicians. So when I saw your episode, when you grilled or pushed back on that Pfizer representative, that was so refreshing to me because mainstream journalists don't do that anymore these days, at least none that I've seen. It's not about holding the powerful accountable anymore. Does that dishearten you to hear that a lot of probably young people studying journalism, their goal is to be the next Jake Tapper reading off a teleprompter in an air-conditioned studio, earning millions of dollars, instead of actually digging the truth, instead of holding people's feet to the fire?
I'm a Jake Tapper fan. But I
No
would say
offense.
I think we need both. I do think we need journalists who stay in the studio and hosts that, read the news. And a lot of them do incredible interviews, and they do hold people to power. But I do think that there is more need for investigative journalism, and I think that partly stems from news organizations and also us. I mean, I think I always like to look at ourselves and see where we can do better. And I think us as readers, as viewers, as consumers, should be looking out more for real investigative boots on the ground journalism. And I think if there's a market there, like anything else, if there are people who are willing to watch and are interested in what's happening around the world, and the truth, there's a market for that. And I tell every young person out there that's studying journalists that comes up to me and tells me they want to be a journalist, it's like music to my ears. I love it. We need more journalists in this world, and we definitely need more boots on the ground investigative journalism.
All right, for my fans at home, everybody go check out Trafficked, Underworlds with Mariana van Zeller, premiering January 17 on National Geographic. Mariana, thank you for talking to me, and parabéns.
Muito obrigada. Thanks, Rama. Thank you so much.